I was browsing the model train subreddit and I saw this post from Fabulous T45. It says their son is completely obsessed with trains and they are trying to figure out how DCC works and how to get it up and running. Well, I'm going to help you out. Let's do this. This video is brought to you with support from Trains.com. Trains.com is a fantastic source for new and used model trains and accessories. As a special offer to my subscribers, you can use the promo code JimmyDIY to get $10 off your order of $50 or more. You can check them out at the link in the description. Okay, let's get a sit rep. The post states that they have some HO scale trains, Kato Unitrack, and an MRC Prodigy Express squared DCC system. The questions they have are: does Kato Unitrack work with DCC, how to wire it, and in general, how to get set up. Let's dive right in. First, let's explain what DCC is. DCC stands for Digital Command and Control. Basically, it's a digital control system for model trains. Before this, model trains used DC power packs to run trains. I know that having one called DC and one called DCC is confusing, but DCC is the digital one, so think 2Cs digital. Model trains are essentially electric vehicles that are powered by an electrical connection that comes through the track. For older DC setups, the amount of voltage is varied to change the speed of the train, and the polarity is reversed to change the direction. This was a simple method, but it also meant you could only control one train with a DC power pack. DCC does things differently. Without getting too technical, a constant amount of power is sent from the DCC control system to the track, and a digital signal is sent through those wires and to the track as a series of electrical pulses. I know that's not exactly right, but that's basically the best way to understand it. If a locomotive is equipped with a DCC decoder, it can read these pulses and operate the locomotive. Now, the big benefit of this is that you can run multiple locomotives on one track, and you can also have a lot of cool functions like lights and sounds that you can control. Now, how can you tell if a locomotive you want to buy has a DCC decoder? Well, there's a few different designations to look for. DCC ready means that it is ready for a decoder installation. Most newer HO scale models that are not DCC equipped already have a quick connect plug. This is usually accessed by removing the locomotive shell, which is the plastic part, and plugging in the decoder on a circuit board on top of the metal chassis. DCC equipped means that a decoder has already been installed from the factory and you can run it on a DCC connected track. DCC and sound equipped means that the decoder of the locomotive comes with some sound features and has an attached speaker for hearing those. You may also see standard DC. This could mean that the locomotive is DC only and does not have a quick connect plug, but I've also seen locomotives labeled standard DC that have a DCC plug or slot. If you need a decoder and do not care about sound, I recommend Digitrax. The reason is that Digitrax has a decoder selector on their website where you can put in your locomotive brand and type, and it will tell you what decoder you need. Then you can take that name of the decoder and put it in a Google search to find where to buy it. eBay will oftentimes have these decoders. One quick thing to note, DC trains will not run on a DCC layout for the most part. They will just sit there, make a noise, and overheat. Okay, let's get to wiring. DCC can actually be done simply by connecting the wire from your DCC base station to the track. You do not need a bunch of different connections when starting out. Just one connection will do you fine. One thing to note about Kato turnouts, which is what switches are called, is that they are what is called power routing, which means the electrical current flows whichever way the turnout is aligned. So if you get a random power cutoff after throwing a turnout, that might be why. One thing to note is that if you do more than one connection from the base station to the track, like wiring up both sides of a turnout, you need to make sure the wires are connected to the same rail. Otherwise, you will get a short circuit. Now, what I mean for this, for example, Kato uses blue wires and white wires. The blue wires will always need to be connected to the same rail, and the white wires will always need to be connected to the same rail. If you have the blue wire connecting to a rail at one point and a white wire connected to the rail at a different point, you'll get a short circuit. Now, for your particular system, the MRC Prodigy Express Squared, you have 4 total terminal screw connections, 2 for each connector. There will be a main track and a program track connection. For your loop of track that you want to run trains on, you will need to connect to the main track terminals. You may have to cut the connector off of the Kato wire and strip the wires to connect them. I would recommend buying an extension wire for the Kato track so that if you mess up, you don't mess up the wire that is directly connected to the track, and I'll link one of those below. Now, the other connection of the base station says program track. This is meant to connect to a separate section of track, and you can program your locomotive on it. This basically means you can change the address, you can do all sorts of things like that. You can program your train on the main track. Instructions on how to do that with the MRC Prodigy Express Square are on page 9 of the manual right here. Right now, all you need to worry about this is if you want to change the DCC address of the locomotive. That's the number you put in to control it. All DCC locomotives and decoders come from the factory with a default address of 3. So when you are putting a DCC train on the track for the first time, select address 3 and you will be good to go. Now, if you want to change the address or number of the train, you'll need to reprogram that number. Now, I do not have direct experience with the MRC Prodigy, but I did take a look at the manual online, and those instructions are also on page 9 of the manual, and you'll follow steps 1 through 3, and you will be good to go. Now, if this is too complicated and you say, I'm not ready to start here, and I want to return this, is there something simpler for DCC? The answer is yes. The DCC system that I started out with when I came back in was the Bachmann Easy Command. It is extremely simple and easy to use. MRC also makes one called the Tech 6. It's a bit more complicated and can run DC and DCC, but it works great as well. I hope this helps you out in getting off and running and answered some of your questions that you have. By the way, if you have any additional questions, you can also email me at the email in the description below. Klondike's is a family-owned business that makes N-scale T-Track modules, mini diorama kits, and N-scale display stands right here in the US. You've seen me feature many of their modules right here on this channel. Check them out at the link in the description. Model Railway Backshop is a great place if you're looking for a quality paint job for your old or new brass model locomotive. If you're looking to get that brass model weathered, you can get that done too. Right now, you can get 10% off any brass model painting and weathering job by using the promo code NMRA10. Check them out at modelrailwaybackshop.com. If you would like some more starter videos, you can check out these right here. Also, if you want to see more starter subjects that I can cover, you can put that in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.